So out in the New Forest again, third week in a row, and it's a nice sunny day today. There's like a heat haze, and I think we're going to find it's quite a hot day today. Things have dried out quite a lot since we were last out here last week, but we're going to pretty much the same places again, although perhaps we'll walk through some woods today. So last week we looked at a wood ant nest, but it wasn't very much activity there because it was cold and wet. This week, with the sunshine, all the ants are out and busy, and so we can see some quite large wood ants there. That's what they look like. So wood ants, they're quite large ants, and they will bite you if you disturb them. So they're quite okay if left alone, although I wouldn't stand still near an ant's nest too long, or else they might climb up your legs. So there we go, that's wood ants, and that's a very active nest. So here we've got bilberry foliage and plants all the way along the bank here, and protected from grazing by two fences. And so when we look in there, you can see all the bilberry flowers, and we might get some berries here in the autumn or in the late summer. Well, it is really late summer when they all fruit, sort of July, early August. So this could be a promising place for bilberries, except it's only a fairly small area that the animals can't get to, because everything else is quite well grazed out here in the New Forest. But here we go, so that's a bilberry plant. So if you see this sort of thing in the spring with these little pink bell-shaped flowers, that's bilberries, and coming back here in July, early August, gives you a chance of picking some wild bilberries, which are like little blueberries. So last week when I was out here, I was talking about how the birch trees turn purple just before they come into leaf. And you can see it's just a week later, and those trees over there are birch trees, and now leaves are appearing on them in just one short week. And again over there, in one short week, they've gone from that late winter purple bare branches appearance to fresh green leaves. Now we'll have a close look at birch foliage. We probably won't be able to see the recognisable shape of the leaves because these are still going to be very young leaves on the trees, but we'll have a little look at it when we get closer. I'm just going to pick up one of these white flint stones that I found on the side of the path here, and I'll show you what I'm going to do with that in a minute, because something I discovered here in the New Forest I didn't think people were doing actually, but it turns out that people are building cairns here in the New Forest. Okay, so this is a very young birch tree here, and we can kind of get the feeling for what the leaves are going to be like from this. So birch leaves are kind of little heart shape, almost triangular leaves with a jagged edge. These are very young, and so you're not really seeing, oh, they're covered in ants as well. Ants are farming aphids on this plant. It's quite interesting. So let's see if we can see that happening. There we go, up the top there on that top shoot. The ants are all over it because aphids are on this, and the ants are eating the honeydew secreted by the aphids. We can't really see them perfectly at this time of year. They're still not fully formed, but birch leaves are triangular heart shape and with a little sort of jagged edge on them. So here we are, we're coming up on what I can only describe as a cairn. Now cairns are normally something I would associate with trails and paths on more mountainous, rocky regions than we have here. I mean, there really isn't very much native rock here apart from the flints. But here we go, this is a cairn made of flints, and this is just people walking it out here and adding a rock when they walk past. Now I've no idea how long this has been going for, but you can see at the bottom there the grass has grown up around the rocks, and so I'd say that's probably been going there at least a few years. So yeah, I think it's just a way of saying, you know, me too. So as you're out here walking, you pick up a rock somewhere along the path and contribute it to the pile, and it's just a way of saying, yeah, I was here too. So kind of cool. I don't know if you can hear this over in the distance. Cuckoo. cuckoos, you often hear them, but you hardly ever see them. So here's a lovely sight. Down on this bank here, we've got wild violets. Look at that. Let's get in really close and just have a close look at those beautiful little violet flowers. And you could walk right past these without even noticing them. But you've just got to sometimes stop and take a look at the small details. And everywhere we look through this little glade, there are violets. Sometimes just dotted about, and then every now and again, big clusters of them. Really lovely. Lovely thing to see in the spring. So one thing we keep on seeing dotted around the heathland here in the New Forest is these mounds. You just see sometimes a very conspicuous mound in the middle of an open area, and I'm fairly sure that these are probably burial mounds. Maybe like Iron Age burial mounds or something like that. And we'll see them dotted about all over the place. In fact, there's another one right here. We're just going to go up and have a look over here. Now these could be entirely natural, or they could be something other than burial mounds. They could be man-made and maybe not burial mounds, but they're just very, very localized lumps of soil or built up mound in the middle of what's an otherwise open area. Nearly fell over then. And I've got a feeling we're standing on an Iron Age burial mound or something like that, or prehistoric burial mound here. And if we look across the fields, and if we look across the heath, well, I can't see any more for the moment, but we'll have a look as we walk along the path. In fact, there's another one right there. So yeah, there's another one right here, and as I say, they may not be anything of the sort, but they're really quite rounded, and they just stand out from the rest of the landscape, really. And so we go up on here, and it's a very small and localized little lump. So now that we've had a little bit of sunshine, the gorse flowers are fully open, and it is interesting to see the variability in colours. I don't know how well this is going to come out on camera, because it is quite subtle, but some gorse bushes seem to be chrome yellow like this, and other gorse bushes seem to be more of a sort of orangey egg yolk yellow, and I presume it's just a little bit of genetic variability in the species. But now that we've had a little bit of sunshine, we should be able to find that we can very carefully, if I can bend this branch over, let's have a sniff of these flowers. Yeah, that's a distinctive but quite faint coconut aroma. It's really pleasant. It's one of the things I look forward to in the spring, is the coconut aroma of the gorse bushes. So we're wandering on back now, back along a ridge on top of this hill here. Over there, I believe that place over there where you can see the traffic driving, that corner there, I believe it's called Deadman Hill. I have no idea why it's called that. But it's been a lovely day. It's just been nice and bright, a little bit of sunshine, but not unbearably hot. So we've had a really nice walk out here today. Thanks for joining me on this walk today. Hope that's been enjoyable, and I hope to see you again soon.